Hello, and welcome. This is Julian with the Jewel Design, and today we are here on a post-Christmas, pre-New Year's Wednesday video. As I said, even though I'm on break, I was going to stockpile as many videos as I could to get you hopefully still 3 videos a week. Monday was a sharing of a holiday present. Friday will be the cover of our December daily. We'll do a lot of craft and chat on that day. We'll just sort of finish off the week, finish off December daily, and, talk about what's going on. So today, though, we're going to get right to it. There will be not as much chit-chat because I really want to show you my project and semi-tutorial it through. I've been meaning to do a tab journal for some time, and I know my purple idea book is going to be a tabbed journal. We have covers done. I have a bunch of cute purple fabric, double-sided fabric, sewn tabs ready to go, but it's been a while. I got the idea and inspiration from Rhoda Burks. I don't remember her tag right now, but Rhoda Burks here on YouTube and Instagram. She did a tab journal back in March or April. She was working on a fairy one. So, gave me the idea, and I kept meaning to do it, but I've been putting it off, or, I've done other things. And then I was going to do the Book Lovers Journal with you guys today. I had all the pre-made ephemera tabbed in, ready to go, picked where I wanted to do it, all the pockets and the belly bands and all the goodies, and I was like, okay, it's not my favorite. I want to work on it, but it doesn't seem like a lot of fun, but that was going to be my project. I had nothing else to work on, and I wanted to give you guys a break from winter. And what do you see? Winter. Sorry. But it's a different winter. It's not super glittery. It's not my snowy winter. This would be Junk with Steph's Holiday Tree Journal Card Kit. Absolutely gorgeous. It's 40 kits. They are old world. They're vintage. I grunged them up just a smidge more because I wanted to really ink the edges. But she has a great textural grunge on the edges of them. I love the cream. I love the blues. She has the little hints of a, red that's really just antiqued over. It's not bright. It's not obnoxious in any way. It's absolutely gorgeous. You have barns and churches and trees and wilderness and tattered backgrounds, and oh my gosh, they're gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And I caught the Etsy notification on Thursday night, and I saw them, and my first thought was a journal card lookbook tabbed ordeal, right? I can't say journal because you wouldn't be able to write in it, right? My intention wasn't to write in it, but it was more of a lookbook, and I wanted to tab them in. I wanted something different than the usual because they are journal cards. They're not papers that we can fold in half. So I did make a quick run. I thought, I can't remember how to do this. And Rhoda had something of a everybody's worked with them, but not much of a very pinpoint tutorial that I'm aware of, and I would never be able to find the videos ever again. And I caught Amy's too late, so I don't know if she walked us through how she was tabbing them in her tags. So I went looking things up. I just looked up tab journals and treasure books. She's out of Australia, and great lady, and she had about 2 months ago put together a really simple tutorial. So if mine is still too complicated, or if I ramble on too much, you can always go back and watch hers afterwards to get the idea of how I got to where I went, and then come back, or watch mine and then go back to hers, whatever. I will always share inspiration and love, and I won't ever assume one is better than the other, but it helped me do what I want to do for this. So we have 40 of these, which means every 2 journal cards is 1 page. So we're going to go back to back with them, and we're not just going to glue them back to back. We're going to leave them open, and they're going to be journal card pocket pages. So everything is going to be able to put something in between them that you could write on. So you still can journal on these 20 pages, but you're just going to pull out the journal card. You're going to pull out the paper. We're going to pull out whatever I put in them, and you could still make tiny little notes, or you can hide cute little things in them, little gratitudes, little sayings, whatever you want to put in them. You could make it your cute little, each page could be sort of a hidden ordeal. Now these are beautiful. They're 8.5 by 11. The whole page is 4 up. Fit to print on my end, made them 4 1/8 by 5 1/4, I think, which is a gorgeous size. So these are my first 2 pages that we're going to end up with back to back. I wanted to be my first one, sort of Christmassy for my second one, only because there are red balls on a Christmas tree. But I love that they're not obnoxious Christmas. I love these. Oh my gosh, I'm in love with them. I wasn't going to. I thought I don't need another project, but I could not help myself. So thank you, Steph. These are gorgeous, and I'm glad you did it. It gets me out of my comfort zone. I get to make something different. But I did take clumps of the background corners of her pages, and only for this purpose for me personally. There was no way. I'm not selling it. I'm not doing anything with it, but I quickly collaged up chunks or sections of backgrounds, and I printed them on a printable canvas, where it's printable on one side and slightly sort of, I mean, it's like photo paper where you don't really print on the back side, right? So I lightened them up, put them on a full page, printed them up, and I went ahead and Mod Podged my fabric onto pressboard. I have my personal fabric that looks very much like my contact paper here. Oh yeah, I have hordes of this. You've seen it before. I've used it for a number of things. This is a really pale version of it. I've used it for a number of areas. I've scanned it and used it for backgrounds, all that jazz. So it's nice and light on a dark pressboard. And then the canvas printable paper has that canvasy fabric feel. And I then just Mod Podged it by using the shears. And, cut the edges of the shears, folded them over every way up, and Mod Podged it down. And it's nice and solid, straight, really hard. It's been a while since I've done a harder back one like this. I've done something like this before. I love it. It's one of my favorite things when it's like this. Oh, I did, that's right, really quickly. I did a tiny itty bitty mini one, sort of the same way. Pressboard with fabric over it. And same again, nice hard whatever. And I did one of those journal card, flip it over and work it back the other way ordeals. Again, nice little hard back, covers to them, and just cover them with fabric, and it makes it really easy. So I'm loving this printable canvas that I got. So I will, if I could find, I think it's also Amazon. A lot of my stuff comes from Amazon just because that's just me. But if I can find the link, I will do the link for the printable canvas. If you have an HP printer that isn't a EcoTank. I heard that EcoTanks don't like anything but basic paper, so I don't know. But I just have a standard HP printer, so I'm able to print my vellum and my canvas printables and stuff like that through them. So there's our first and last page, and then all the journal cards make 20 in between. So it's definitely suggested when you make a tabbed journal that you have even amount of pages, including your cover. So there's 20 sets of doubles is 22, so I'm all good to go. So I made my cover about a ½ an inch taller and only a ¼ inch wider than the journal cards themselves. So when you do tabs, you always want to make sure that your tabs are to the far left, that your papers, and your cover are all lined up to the far left, right? So then you can have all the extra space you want, top, bottom, and right. But so I don't have to go double. I don't have to go ½ an inch widthwise. I only need to go ½ an inch tall, so that there's almost a perfect ¼ inch border around your pages, whatever you want to use. So, and that's me personally. Now, you can decide how much of a difference. Just keep in mind that your pages, whatever they may be, are going to be flush on the left side of your cover. So then you can make it as wide as you feel necessary or as tall. Okay. If I'm too fast, I'll try to slow down. I figured that too. When it comes to your tabs, you can use a number of things. As I can't believe I don't remember her name, but Treasure Books, she mentioned you can do washi, you can do fabric, you can do ribbons, you can do fabric on tape. Now I grabbed my double-sided sticky tape that's in strips, and I used a ½ inch. In this case, I'm only using a ½ inch. I would have liked a 1 inch or 3/4 inch tabs, because these are a little over 5 inches tall. So I had room to do up to 1 inch tabs, but I only had as wide as ½ an inch, which is fine. There'll be a little bit of a gap between each binding, each tab, so it gives me a little bit of give for mishaps. So I'm using this, and I just literally lined up. In my case, I need about 6 strips across my fabric, and then I just cut around. Got my scissors, and I just cut the fabric right around my tape. Okay, so. And then I'm taking these and I'm cutting them down to 1 inch strips. Now, depending what you're doing, I'm hiding my tabs. So we are, except for the front and the back, I'm hiding my tabs. So I don't need a lot of material because I'm not going far out. I'm not needing to do anything. The longer your tabs, the more you're going to see. But if you're just tabbing in paper and then you're covering it with ephemera that we're pocketing and we're tucking and all that stuff, you can make your tabs longer to give it more stability. Yeah, stability. If you are doing a lot of gluing and a lot of layering on the edges like I am today, I don't need as much. I'm only going to go about 1/2 inch front and back of each page because we're going to make this a very tight, because there's so many pages. We want to keep our paper nice and flush with the edge. The tabs are going to go right over nice and tight. We're going to keep things really smooth, really tight together so there's no gap. When you open your page, there is no gap between, cover, or little to no gap between cover and next page. And each page is going to have almost no, if I do this right, almost no gap between them. Which is why you can use the double-sided sticky tape, because you're not going to have this sticky stuff showing in between and getting things caught in there. But like she mentioned, if for some reason you decide to get some space and you have that sticky tape poking out where you can see it or feel it, cornstarch, baby powder, we could cover it in glitter. Like, it's sticky. We could sprinkle our glitter in that gap, and it would get, it would help reduce the stickiness. So please forgive if you hear the dogs outside. Okay. Now I have 2 piles here, as you can see. I need about 55 total tabs. I figured for every 2 sets of pages, I need 5 tabs. You go 3 for the first page, 2 for the second page. So every time you do this, you need about 5 for every 2 sets. I have, 42? 22 pages. So I need 11. It's 11 sets, 11 times 5, 55. So there we go. Now I do have them in 2 different colors, but the fabric is all this color. Fabric's all the really light colors. You can see it almost blends in. I took 3 of my strips and I went ahead and just used my blotter and the vintage photo from Tim Holtz Distressed Ink and just darkened it. I darkened 3 of them. Even though my first one and my last one my first and last set are going to be lighter. They are inked around the edges, and they are sheared, and a little longer, because my front and back I'm going to see my cover, and I want to be able to see something a little bit more decorative. So I'm okay with my first and last ones being light colored, but everything in between is going to be dark for my 3 spots, and my 2 tab spots are going to be lighter. So we have a little bit of variation when you're looking down the spine. We're just not seeing this pale color top to bottom, and it's sort of boring, right? So I'm going to cut these last set real quick with you guys while we chat and say hello. Now, usually with a tab journal, you'll see the tabs. Like I said, if you went for really long tabs for whatever reason, you have a lot of material and you don't care, and you want to make sure that you want to use it up, and you're going to cover most of those tabs, with ephemera pieces, with paper, with whatever, you can go with a nice lightweight piece of paper, with sticky side tape, whatever, to get, to make this more stable on your pages. I think 1.5 to 2 inches is pretty standard, I think, sounds like. I think I did 2 inches for my purple journal, and I don't know how much space or room I'm going to leave on that now that I've got a better feel for it. 2 inches may definitely be plenty long. My Purple Idea book, I'm going to see the tabs more than likely, and they are shared all the way around. Now here, these guys are not going to be seen except for on the spine. So all we're going to see is a nice clean line, maybe a little fuzzy because this material likes to shred, up to the point where it's on the sticker paper. This is not 1 inch, is it? It's going to come up short, so maybe not if I need it. I knew I could get 10 per page easily, or the 10 to, I knew I had enough. I don't think I need every single one of them, but I have enough to the side if I need to. All right, so we have our darker ones, we have our lighter ones. Give me 1 second. And the extras. So we'll see. We'll see if I did this right. I didn't really count them. Probably should count them, but I'm not going to get beginning to end with you guys today. So if I have to, I can go make more. That's how simple it is. I'm so stoked. So you have fabric, ribbon, washi tape, double-sided sticky tape. But you have to have something to cover one side of your double-sided sticky tape. Whether it's washi, you have old washi that you love, put it the washi on the sticky side, pull it off, and you can reuse your washi tape by, and reinforcing it with double-sided sticky tape. Otherwise, get ribbon, get strips of fabric, and your glitter glue or your fabric tack, anything to help you adhere it down to the paper that you're using. Now, I personally, like I said, I'm not showing the tabs except for the cover, the front and back cover. So I'm going to tip in every one of my journal cards. So we are going to make it a pocket, we are going to put the tabs on the paper. Then we're going to glue one card perfectly down on top of the tabs and the tip. We're going to flip it over. Okay, and that's what's going to help it reinforce the sticky-sided tape because it's not going to last forever. This is going to get glued down. You're going to have tabs sticking out. And we're going to take the second one, and we're only going to glue these three sides. Okay, and we're going to glue it down on the three, leaving the non-tip side, of course, wide open to make it a pocket. Okay, so when we flip it back over, this is attached to the books. This is wide open. This is all glued down. That's the idea. Okay. Now, if these were just single pages that were double-sided printed, you would be tabbing one side on every set. Not every page is not tabbed front and back. It's only tabbed on the front. Now, you could do it backwards if you really wanted to. If you wanted to make the writing side tabbed and not block your pretty printed side, you could do this backwards from back to front instead. And you could tab the back of each page, flip it over, okay? But I'm not going to confuse it too much. Once you get used to it, you can work your way front and back and front and back. But the first one, so I have 20 tabs, or 20 tips to put 3 or 2 tabs on, to then glue on our journal card. So hopefully this is working. Okay, good. I'm still recording. I thought I was recording this the first time. Luckily, didn't get very far. I was just cutting up my little 1-inch strips. And I happened to look up deposit and realize that it wasn't on. So I at least didn't get very far. So I hope you're all doing really well. I hope that you're having a wonderful week. I hope the holidays went well. We will chat more, about our plans and how things went and how my week's gone and all that jazz on Friday when we do our cover. So if you want more of a crafting chat, that will be Friday for sure. You saw a gift that I gave to a good friend of mine on Monday. So hopefully that was just a quick little hello, and I love you all, and happy holidays. So today is a little bit more tutorial, and we're gonna get down to brass taxes and make sure we get this all done. So yeah, we're already at 17 minutes, so I definitely don't want to waste time. Now, okay. So, here's our cover. I wanted this upright this way, and I have 3 tabs. Now, you can put them anywhere you want, but we have to keep in mind that it has to line up with our tabs, with what we're tipping in, and the pages themselves. So I have to make sure that, knowing that these are middle here, that we have everything sort of lined up. So I'm going to sort of line each one up to each other so that we can get a feel for where everything needs to be. Because when you do these, you have to have 5 tabs. Well, for the most part, people do 5 tabs. It's the default, okay? That your 5 tabs have to fit top to bottom within themselves on whatever paper you're putting these on. Now, your covers are always bigger, so you're not going to go top to bottom of your cover, because then they're going to be above and below your papers, which means you got this loose, flappy material or sticky tape, and that doesn't do you any good, right? So this is the only one. So your tabs have to fit. Okay. Now I wanted these 1 inches. I didn't have 1 inch. I didn't have 1 inch tape. If I had 1 inch tape, these would be, eyeball it, right? Would be back to back. They would be right on top of each other, and they would fill up the whole spine of your paper height. I said I didn't have 1 inch tape. I thought I did. They weren't as wide as I thought. So instead, that's fine. I'm going to eyeball it, and I'm going to put them in between. Now I am going to the top, or just shy of the top and just shy of the bottom of the paper that we are tipping in. I don't know if you tip in the journal card or you tip in the paper. I don't know how you do it. I know when we do tall, skinny journals, we can fold a page to where we only have a tiny little bit of paper sticking out in the back, right? We have a full page on the front, but when you get to the back side of your signature, you only have this little skinny piece of paper. And I think that's where you can tip in an envelope, and a piece of ephemera, a journal card. You can glue something to that little bit of paper and tip it in. So we are tipping in our journal cards, but so the paper that we're using to tip in is just, is definitely, 4 3/4 tall, 4.5 inches tall. And this is 5 1/4. Yeah, it's like 4 3/4, right? So give or take, it's, so I'm going to eyeball this all the way through. And this is the nice thing. So as we're going from one page to the next, we can sort of eyeball and keep everything hopefully in between, hopefully middle. I could be really anal retentive right now and be like, that has to go right there. Yeah, I don't want to do that right now. So this is sort of the spacing of my tabs. First ones are a little longer because I want to see more of the tab on the front cover and the back cover, but the rest are only going to get about 1/2 inch or less on each piece of paper. And it looks pretty good. It looks like where I want it to be. Because once I put the first one on the cover, everything is going to follow suit afterwards. Every single one of them. So I don't want to, that's about right. I actually like the spacing of that. Almost. This one's going to be a little wider, a little longer because it is, I cut it longer. But we want to make sure you have enough to get to the back side. Not so much that you're like, oh, well, let me get that too tight. So let's do that. Okay, so yeah, this one's a little longer. That's fine. Eyeballing everything. Hopefully it all looks good. It's about where I want it, top to bottom. So that one's top to bottom. I mean, I can adjust it once we get going if I decide. Like, okay, well, that can be glued bottom or top. But I would like to make sure that when we're looking at our journal down the spine, things look good. So that's why everything is inked. Even my tabs, I have them down where the outer edges are inked. So if you do see paper, which you will, it has that darker tone just like it does on the edge of our journal cards. Okay, so really it looks like the backs, these are almost lined up here. This is the hard part, which is where I'm a little OCD on everything, right? I guess maybe I won't move that. I'm like, I don't think I can move that. Okay. I know. And this it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be exactly. Once you get them going, you'll know where you're going to put stuff. You'll be able to see it. But this is me being like, that first one is always the hardest because you're trying to get it started. You're trying to figure out where you want to place things. And I feel like this end definitely needs to line up. So if these are lined up here for the most part, then everything else is pretty good. So like, how do you... All right, I know this is just me being, I'm trying to figure out how to do this. You know me, if you watch me do this, you know I get my decorations all laid out and all organized the way I want them, and then I have to pick it up and glue it back together, and I never put it back where I want it, and I know better. This is where I'm anal retentive. Okay, hold on. I might need my tweezers on this one. I've had these sitting here, and it's not too hot or too cold out, so it should come up easily. Haha. I don't need to be taking all day, just trying to get the sticky tape off the back. There we go. Okay, so yes, tweezers are going to be your friend. Maybe going to be my friend in many ways. Okay, so eyeball it here. Eyeball it here. Yep, okay. Oh, it's down. It's down. It's down. Okay. Same thing. So we're sort of going to line up this side here. Now that we have a general idea, we're using this just for top to bottom. So make sure I'm in the right spot. And you are using, now the only reason why I have all 5 showing though right now, so that I can make sure that I'm leaving things sort of evenly spaced. You will not, once you get going, you will go back and forth between seeing 3 and 2 and remembering which one you did last so that you can pull the right tabs. All right. I just hope, I probably should have watched her video one more time this morning before I started, but I was cleaning house and getting ready for stuff, so, okay. Sometimes having your tweezers help because it gets your fingers out of one's way for visual effects. Okay, I think that's good. We want to make sure we have enough that I did not cut myself too short to where that first page doesn't have enough room, but we don't want to get, there we go. Okay. I'm feeling like we have enough room, but we're not getting too much one way or another. Of course I can always adjust this, but once it's all down. Now, that is the other thing, is that with this sticky side tape, there might be a little bit more give. Just like when we're with our fabric tack, we have a little bit more time to pull something up. And once we feel like this is good to go, I will probably go back and reinforce it with fabric tack or glitter glue to make sure nothing comes up, right? Once I've played with it and we've messed with it enough that I'm where I need it to be. Okay. So again, yeah, that was in spot. So I'm going to go up here as high as I can. It's not going to go as wide. It looks pretty. It is hard for you guys to see, probably because I'm right on top of the exact same paper. Right? I'm like, yeah, Right now, everything, I probably should have done a different piece of paper or a different color behind me because, yeah, my background matches my paper, my fabric. Okay, so we don't do that. These are next, but not right yet. So, we flip them over, okay? Our next piece. Now, I gotta remember, I probably should flip these around to a point. So, in the end, these are going to be attached. But before you do it, you do have to get these guys in place, okay? You need to put your second ones, number 2 now, in the right spot. So these you're going to put between these. And I guess I could sit here if I really want to be anal retentive and do a bunch of 2s and do a bunch of 3s. And I don't know if that would work. I wonder if that would. Makes me wonder, right? Well, it makes you wonder. So I'm sort of center this one here, then center these between them. And again, you know, trying to eyeball everything. So, yeah, and things move. So, but yes, you have to put your tabs down, then flip it over, line it up on the edge, and put the tabs prior on the page, from the page prior, down on it. And you want to go about center in all respects. I'm going half and half, and halfway in between. Like everything's halfway. Everything between this, between that. Even though we're dealing with odd numbers, odd number tabs with even number pages, which just makes it easy. I think it makes it easy so you have that clean cut where you start and stop with 3 tabs, which are going to be the most, it reinforce your pages and your book the most. So I think that's one reason why we try to go even, and so you can end on 3. And that sort of stuck itself down, so it's sort of a bonus. Like I said, I'm just trying to go halfway here. Okay. Pick them up. That's why sometimes too they're not. And flip them around, because your tabs are always going to be over here. And like I said, I am trying to make sure my my edges are, so now I'm lining this up. I know it's on the right hand side because everything's upside down or face down. So you're lining up your right side, but technically it's the left side of your book. And you're not going to take the ones you just put in. You're going to take the ones you had before. And you're going to go really tightly. And you're going to press down on your paper. Press down on your... and press down on these. And this is where probably anybody with massive OCD is where we're going to have to give in and give up a little bit. Because, yeah. So when you're done, you're going to open it a little bit. And you might see the page below it before. No. That's what I didn't want to do. Oh, wait, no, that's the right one. I thought for a minute there, I was like, no. No, it's weird. Yeah, okay. I thought I put the wrong thing in the wrong place. Oh my gosh. Okay. So there's your first one. Then I'm going to do the next one, and the next one, and the next one. So when you're lining them up, you know, your one before, well, the one you just sort of glued down is going to be the tabs you're going to work on. If that makes any sense. I don't know. You just got to remember 3, 2, 3, 2, all the way through. You know, you're putting down 3 tabs, but you're flipping over, but you're gluing it down in place with 2 tabs. And then you do 2 tabs, and you're going to glue it down with 3 tabs. Yeah? Capiche? I don't know. All right, so again, you're going to line it up, and I'm sort of, you know, making sure my papers are about the same length. And then I'm trying to do halfway without gluing it to anything. Ooh. Right. But hoping that when I go to lay it out, I wonder if wax paper would help. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's why sticky side tape is not perfect, because it does sort of stick to your surfaces before you get started. And then you're gluing it down, and so it's like, But we are going to glue, like I said, we're going to glue these pages down to one of the journal cards. And so I think that's going to really help reinforce everything. But this just gets you started and gets the process started and lets you, you know, work it. Now, of course, once you're getting along and you're working with the journal and you see that your sticky tape isn't holding out, then yeah, you just pull out your glitter glue, your fabric tack, and you glue it down. Okay. So I'm going to try to, that was my first tab, whether I liked it or not. I'm going to try to get my second tab lined up. I don't want to stick it to I don't want to stick it to this. Oh, I hope this makes sense, guys. And I'm slow at this because, yeah, this does take a little longer. I didn't quite notice that when she was doing it, but my nails are just holding on at this point. I have a number of them I've had to rework. I have another week before I get them done, so this will be fun. Okay, so they're lined up there. I'm going to try to keep my page straight. All my pages straight. So, I mean, I could do it this way. I don't know what I'm thinking. Maybe this would be a little easier. You just don't want to get the wrong thing stuck down, right? So I'm lining it up, which I already see that I'm off. You know, I'm just going to be, this tab did not stick, but I'm not going to try to pull it up, because if I do, I will regret it. So there we go. They're not going to be perfect. Yes, okay, so you tabbed it here because this is what I want to see. I'm going to flip it upside down, or right side up, right side out, upside down. So all the stickies are in the same direction. And this time, because I put 3 tabs on this tipped paper, I'm only going to fold over the 2 tabs. So if you put 3 tabs on a piece of paper, you're going to use the 2 tabs underneath. Okay, here we go. Right? So 3 went on here, 2 went on, you know, 2 went on here, 3, 2, 3, 2. So you can see there's the 3 tabs we put on the paper. So we're using the 2 tabs to close it up. And definitely off. Oof, cheese and crackers. That is super off. There's nothing I can do about it. I thought I was good until it isn't, right? So, yeah, I did notice with Rhoda's, you know, everything's a little off. If it gets to where you're done with it and you can't stand it, you can find ways to cover those. And this is just hidden underneath, which, you know, I may decide that, never mind. We're going to see all 5 tabs on the outside. And the inside's not quite where I want it. But yeah, this is, I think, definitely where if you have OCD, not going to work. So we just did 3 tabs. We put 3 tabs on the last tip. And so we need to put 2 tabs, and my lighter color in this case, on this one. But it's just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's not super fun. I mean, it's not like super exciting. It doesn't, you know, have a lot of, I said 2 tabs, right? Okay. So I'm trying to line it up with the last tab. Haha. That was a 2 tab. That's what I'm trying to do. But I think when you do it and then you flip it over, I don't know if it stays lined up. It might be one of those things like when you cut it, you cut a piece of paper, or you trace something out and you cut it and then you flip it over to cover the side you want, and you realize that you didn't trace it on exactly that way. No. Luckily, this tape is not perfect and it has some give. Okay. So I'm lining them, and the papers might not be exactly lined up. They're exactly the same size. A good chunk of them were, and then I eyeballed others, so we'll see. But yeah, I'm trying to line up the new tab with the last tab of that same inkling. Then I'm trying to line up my edges really tightly, making sure that they line up with each other, that they line up with the cover. Best I can. I don't know if I'm up close enough. Maybe not. Let's see. Yeah, but see, then you can't see everything. So I'm like a little bit of both. Like I'm like, okay, how am I in camera and still see? Okay, so we just put these tabs, the second tabs, the 2 tabs here on the paper. So that means the third tab, 3 tabs on the prior tip have to be used. I know, tabs, tips, tags, cards. There we go. So you're always got a set of tabs loose and all your papers attached. It's getting bad. I think we're going to have a few here and there off, and others are going to be really close. It also has to deal with the width of your thing. The only downside is I'm always going to have one open, so having the ability to go down the line and stop at some point and not lose these tabs would be a problem. Hold on, I'm thinking of what I can put on these tabs and not. I think wax paper would work. I'm hoping. Let's see. I'm thinking a piece of wax paper might help me preserve those tabs. I can show you how we're going to cover it. And then, yes, we could keep going, but... Alright, so you would keep going. I mean, you are going to keep doing this, and of course, I have 20 pages to do this for. So, it's going to take time, and no one wants to watch me do that the whole time. But, so what I'm thinking is I'm going to try to... Well, let's do this. Just lightly... It's just wax paper. We use it for journal... When we do stickers and... stickers, when we do our planners, we stick it to here and we can take the wax paper off and the stickers don't completely lose their adhesive. So, as you can see, when we're doing this, it's not a perfect fit. I do have some gap. That first one definitely had first to third. I'm having a little bit of a gap. A little more than I'd like. The goal is to get it really tight, and apparently I'm not quite getting tight enough. But that's okay. Maybe it'll give me just the right amount of give. So if these get a little thick, we aren't having problems turning them. And if we see we can see the sticky and it bugs us, like I said, flour, glitter, cornstarch, any kind of powdery substance, you can sprinkle it on those, in those crevices, and it'll dull down the stickiness, and then you won't have to worry about it. So, I want to show you the potential, though, of what these are going to look like. So, to hide them, right, because I don't want to see my tabs. I only want to see the binding. I just want to see it down the middle, the tabbed binding. That's all I want to see, and on the front. That's it. Personally, because I do want to make these, I wanted to use the journal cards. I didn't want the tabs on the journal cards, and in the process to do that, I figured, duh, we can now make pockets. Wouldn't that be just lovely? So, to start off with, you're going to grab that piece, right, and we're going to glue our tip right onto the front journal card. Glitter glue to the rescue. Okay. Oh, because it does dry quickly. It will, for the most part, cover over the fabric. Sorry, my glitter glue is totally sticky. Now, if you were gluing these tabs right onto your pages, whether you're writing on your journal pages, whether you're writing on your ephemera, you wouldn't be covering up your tabs. You would not need to be worrying about gluing over your tabs. You wouldn't need to be worrying about this. But I like hiding some of my spine work. You've seen me, hide our spines. You've seen us sew them in, find different ways to do it, right? So I'm going to center this where I want it on the cover from top to bottom, and I'm lining it up with the edge of the cover, and then I'm going to push in just like everything else, and I'm going to glue it down. Press down hard. Okay, so now look. Now definitely would suggest maybe a little bit of adjustment, and make sure that it lines up with the paper so that you don't see much of the paper. Okay, there we go. Our first tip. Now, on top of that, I went and tried to do top and bottom of this, and our tabs are a little off. So this paper is not, of course, lined up in the same spot. I was hoping that everything was lining together, that this would be a little bit more even. But we have such a good piece of paper that we are gluing everything to each other that I'm not too worried about it being centered on this. Probably could have dropped it down a little bit, but I have a feeling that my tabs got dropped down a little too far. Yeah, see, there's definitely more space top than bottom. So, my bad. So we're going to fix that by centering our journal cards, gluing this onto the journal card wherever it lands, as long as it doesn't go below. And since we're gluing the next one right onto it, like everything's reinforcing the next thing. So I'm not too worried about it. So to make it a pocket, we're going to glue. Don't mind me. Okay, just making sure everything's upright. That'd be bad. Okay, so we are going to glue, yes, the 3 sides. Because now, because I didn't want that paper to get, I didn't want anything to be stuck on here to get caught on the tip paper. I can't do the edges. Yeah, that's the other thing. I'm like, well, it's not, everything's definitely going to be smaller. Every journal card, index card, file folder, piece of paper, anything I put in here, which I have a couple ideas, is definitely going to be smaller than the pocket, and we will measure it that way. Did I just do that backwards? I did. I put the glue on the wrong side. And that's why I always check before I put stuff down, and I need my paper. Yeah, there's that one. I'm like, wait a minute. It's sort of backwards for us in some aspects because usually we glue it and, okay, hold on. We need, yeah, it's upside down. That's probably why, and that's what my bad side. So this is the deal. So this side, that's what we need. You have to figure out how you need to recognize it. You put it up and down. I think I went upside down. Okay, there we go. So you're going to line up your journal card with your journal card as best as you can. I know that these are not perfectly cut because I sort of had to gauge the grungy distress look around the edges here. The journal cards are back to back in all aspects, so you can cut them as you see fit. So some are going to be a little wider or a little longer than others. If it's a really, really big ordeal, I will trim it off. If not, if it's not that big of a deal, I'm just going to add, we're just going to add more ink, which my blotter is toast. Going through 40 journal cards last night, yeah, definitely killed it off. So that's why we try to put some ink on the pages, the card edges before, and why I will do it again when I'm done. So we can hide any, pages. And it just gives it depth. There's nothing wrong. Now later, if I want this pocket to be more obvious, I'm going to put my thumb notches like I always do. But we'll probably notch both pages and then we'll ink it. But there we go. First page has been tipped in now. And I have a pocket here. And if you want to, and make sure all is good, take a bone folder, go in, make sure that you are wide and not too attached anywhere, but your edges are nice and tightly in place. And we're going to do that. We're going to do that a number of times. We're going to do that process 20 times. So it's definitely repetitive to get the whole journal done. But, I mean, the ending result I think is going to be absolutely gorgeous having, 20 sets of these. The light and the dark, I'm glad I went a little darker here, a little lighter here, darker here. You may or may not see it, but hopefully there's just enough variance, just like we do see on the front. There's my little cab. We can decorate these to make them, personable. Of course, you'll do the front cover, but we just are going to keep going. So here, well, I got a few more minutes. I definitely will. That worked. Came right off. I didn't lose my stickiness. Yeah, 42 minutes. So let's do a few more. So tab 3, stick 2, tab 3. First, yeah, does that make sense? Now that one I goofed up. And like I said, I'm putting my tabs on for me personally, I inked 3 sides, and that's the side I'm putting the tabs on, so that if you see the paper through this, it's going to be just as dark and inked as the journal cards, because as you can see, because I inked all the corners, the journal cards are very dark. They're very grungy, dark. It's like a really, really, really dark antique gold feel, like it is a vintage, vintage photo, and I love it. So the paper's gonna have that same feel. So if you see it through the gaps of the, if you can see it through the gaps of the fabric, it's all gonna be there together. So that's what I'm loving. So we are gonna stick onto this one. So I need to put down 3, which means that I need my 3 dark ones. Okay. And you just do the best you can as you go through it, I guess. I mean, you are trying to, put something in. I think sometimes when your papers are thicker or the ephemer's a little thicker, like she did an envelope pages for us she had her cover, and then she tabbed in, just for the sake of tutorial, she tabbed in 4 envelopes. Really pretty black with gold tipped envelopes. And so you can stick things into it just like the pockets that I'm trying to create here. And so, made it pretty quick, but, because it's a thicker paper, envelopes are thicker, it probably made it a little easier. So I'm going to continue to line up my papers together. We're not going to change that, even though, yeah, we see that things had shifted with the journal cards, but in the end, you're not going to notice. You just aren't. I don't think there's going to be any way of knowing. Oh, that's right. I'm doing this backwards. As I remember, I know for me, it's a little convoluted. So these do not line up. So again, we're just going to make sure that they are as centered to the paper as possible. And these will definitely go towards the top of the paper in this case, to line up my things properly. Eek, hold on. Let's not. It's warm enough in the garage today. We are definitely, well, by the time you see this video, we are preparing for more rain again. So, we'll see. But when I'm recording it, we actually are getting a break from the rain. We're getting some sun. Not super warm, but, you know, it's warmer than it could be. So, we'll take it. So yes. Okay. So yeah, you're going to put down 3 tabs. And then to adhere and make sure that that paper is going to stay in place, you're going to fold over 2 tabs. And if that's just back and forth, you know, you want to line yourself up where you feel comfortable with your paper and your tabs. And, you know, I'm trying to get my 3 and 2 to line up with each other from the previous ones. So there's somewhat of a consistent line. Sometimes you can do it, sometimes you can't. I think the idea, if you are very much, you like the random eclectic feel of it, you're just going to put, you know, 3 tabs or 2 tabs on each page that you attach as you go along to whatever fits your needs. And you don't mind that your things are a little off. You just know that you have to have a general area. So we put 3 tabs down. So I'm going to fold over as tight as I can, 2 tabs. Line them up the best I can, fold it over without, again, let's see if I do this right. Yeah, it seems to be holding. So also, if you were showing these 2, well, you do have front and back. Okay, so every other, oh, no, that's right. Okay, so I'm wrong. I thought, oh, the way you do this, you would only have tabs on the front of each page. And no, you have back to back. You always have back to back, so every other page is on the front. So you have front, back, front, back, front, back. So on some pages, it looks like you have it, but yeah, you do have both. It's so weird. Oh my gosh! I mean, it works. It's working, but I can't even justify it. So I'm sorry. Yeah, you always have a tab on each page, some front or back of each page. You always have a tab. It's just the way they are interlocked that keeps them from falling out. So yes, each page will have a tab. So if you don't mind the tabs on your decorative, whatever the decorative may be, then, you know, you're going to find a nice decorative tab that goes with your set, whatever material you want to use, because you're going to see it. If you don't want to see it, you're going to do what I'm doing. We're going to tip it in and hide those things. And I'm only using fabric just so that you can see it pretty on the other side. So, okay. I'm like, wait, I'm looking at it going, no, you see a tip or, you know, a tab on each end. So yeah, I'm just working my way through this. What else can I tell you? Yeah, so make sure your tabs are as wide as fits along the page. You got to get five tabs to a page. So, you know, 5 tabs from top to bottom. So you want to make sure you don't go any wider than that is allowed or room to do so. It is varied 3, 2, 3, 2. If you have even pages, including the cover, that includes the cover, front and back, then you have that gorgeous look of starting with 3, binding with 3 tabs, and ending with the binding of 3 tabs. What else? Like I said, this way I'm tipping them in, and I get to make my pockets. I get to make whatever works for me. Yes. Oh, jeez. Yeah, I'm thinking, I got too many things. So in this case, because I have things a certain way, I can't just lay down the paper and work it. I have to make sure that I'm putting my inked edges, where I'm putting my tabs on my inked edges, because that's what you're going to see. And then I have to flip it upside down or right side over. I wonder if that's what I'm doing. I'm doing this, and that's why I got these sometimes not over. I got to go do it, and I have to make sure I flip it outward. I bet you that's half my problem. I'm like, I wonder if that's my problem. I wasn't even paying attention if I have a tendency of flipping things upside down and right side up. And so I'm like wondering if that was why some of those didn't line up the way I wanted to. What am I doing too? I'm looking to see what color, how many I put down and what color these are. And that reminds me of what number tab I'm doing. So I know where to put it. Like that one's already off, I can tell you. I definitely went off on that one. But oh well. You do what you can do. It can't be perfect. It won't be perfect. It is the joy. As you said, sometimes it's even better, just like if you're using fabric and you're gluing it down, rip the fabric, rip your squares, have odd shapes and sizes, as long as you have room in between each section so that, you know, they don't bind up on each other. You know, there is no reason to have anything perfect. You just need to make sure you have 3s and 2s. I think it's the best combination to work with. I think she's right. I think if you've got a much larger book, though, you might want to do 7 so that you can go from top to bottom and catch everything. If you have odd sizes, though, you definitely want to keep that in mind when you're doing it, that you have to, okay, I'm putting this, it's a smaller piece, so you're going to want to put it on a page where 2 tabs is what's keeping it attached. Things like that. It's how I would suggest things. You know, if you are going, oh, I made this one, it's next in the book, and it's this itty bitty thing, and it's going to have 3 tabs keeping it in place, and it might not work because it's not going to have enough material to grab all 3. Like all 3 will have nothing to stick to. If I did this right, yep, I did. It's a little scary. I'm hoping. I have a tendency of making things that aren't, but because we are gluing this whole thing down, I think they're going to be fine. I think they're going to be, there's not going to be a flimsiness to this that I'm going to worry about. So, okay, so let's do one more. So, yeah, this is, like I said, 3, 2, 3, 2. Put that wax back down. I'll show you one more cover up. We'll do the next one. So, yeah, there's a little bit of a, I don't know. There is a little bit of, maybe because these aren't wide enough, and that might be my worry, that you definitely want to get them closer together. But then again, they're there. I don't know. I don't have that much space. I mean, yeah, I'm a little off. I can see in one spot, and I'm not being picky about these guys. I'm just grabbing the next 2 and using them. I did a little bit of shuffling to see if I could break up some of the beige, because like after I was cutting them, I was like, oh, look, all my cream are together and all my blue are together. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't want that much. I don't want that perfect, right? So I did try to shuffle them up a little bit so that maybe we wouldn't have too much. But I think back to back, you can have blue to blue. When you open your pages, you're going to have blue on blue, beige on beige, variants. Like, I think it's going to be, you know, whatever you're doing. You may decide that you really want these, you know, facing pages to be a certain way. And you could just then, you know, really pay attention to your order of your pages before you get going. Before you tab them in, you are paying attention, you know, to your lineup. So it's really up to you and how you do that. And let's make sure, and it's a little late, but I have 2 seconds, you know, to unglue that. All right, so this is going here. So, you know, not to glue this side. No, I have to glue that side. Is that my problem? Oh, that's my problem. I need to put my fingers where I'm not going to be gluing it. There we go. Like, one way or another, find your ways, right? It's like your tests. There was always ways to remember stuff, and you had tricks of the trade to remind you, you know, rhythms, rhymes, visual effects. My daughter does a lot of visual, you know, where she visually sees a name or something. So I got to turn a little bit and hopefully not get my hair and head in the picture because it's not cute. All right, maybe ta-da, all the way up. There we go. A little off, but I'm going to move it a little bit if I can as I go. That's good. And like I said, if it's too much, I can clip it, restain it, and away we go. But there we go. We have a tabbed journal card journal, and they're pocketed journal card pages. Yeah, this one, you know, there's definitely some show here, and I'm like a little more than I might like. So now that they're glued down, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to trim a little bit. Trim a little there, maybe trim a little here. I don't mind that they're stressed, but I may not want too much showing. And then all I have to do is touch up the ink again from whatever I just cut off, which, like I said, she has a beautiful amount of going on her end, and since I did ink the inside, there's not much that, you know, needs to be re-inked. But there you go. So this is our journal card, pocketed journal card paged. It's a mouthful. I don't know how to name this thing. It is our journal. It is our holiday tree journal card journal lookbook, pocket tag, pocket card journal. It's our tab journal using journal cards as our pages to make pocketed pages. Yeah, pocket page, tabbed journal. I'm going to do that. Pocket page tabbed journal. Got to write that down. Oh my gosh. Pocket page tabbed journal. Because they are pockets. Doesn't matter how we make them or how big they are, right? It's the same thing. So there we go. Let me find a piece of paper. I'm like, I better write that down because I will not remember that whatsoever. Let's see. So pocket page tabbed journal. There we go. Using holiday. Using our holiday tree kit. Using our holiday tree kit. Holiday tree kit. There we go. Holiday tree kit by Junk with Steph. Ugh. Mouthfuls. And here they're trying to have you be like super specific and really creative and YouTube titles and oh my gosh. So there we go. We have a canvas on pressboard cover. We have hidden tabs to make our pocket pages that we're using journal cards that are generally 4 by 5 or 4.5, 4 by 5, and we are just tabbing in 2, 3, 2, 3 on using paper that we're tipping in to help tip in the journal cards, and we will have these lovely pockets that I have ideas for. We're going to do some coffee dyed index cards. I have a coffee dyed mini file folder that we can write on. We're going to have some coffee dyed paper pressed in here. So I got some ideas because I said we have 20 pages and I have more than enough, and others are going to stay open for you to use at your own accord, and the goal is to get this done as soon as I can so you guys can have it as a winter gift, a winter idea, next year's project, whatever. But I do plan on probably selling this. I don't know. I really love it. I don't know. We'll see. If I'm absolutely in love with it, maybe not. But it may be one of the first few things that is in the new shop. So thank you all for joining me. Love you all very much. I hope this was a little bit helpful. If you've been wanting to do a tab journal and you really weren't sure how to go about it, you sort of saw how I'm doing it and hiding mine. If you want to not worry about hiding yours, like I said, Treasure Books has a great little tutorial, which made it easy for me to do, but I had to then tweak it because you know me, I make everything hard or more complicated than it needs to be, but that's how my brain works. I can't help myself. So this is Joanna the Jewel Design. I hope you're having a wonderful week. Thank you for joining me on my newest project. I'm so stoked, so excited. And we will catch you on the flip side as we work on our last December daily project this Friday. And the following week is just boom, boom, boom. Back to Snowflake, back to this, back to whatever. And we will get booked to our book lovers. And we're just going to keep going as we do new things, organize, and so on and so forth. So love you all very much. I hope to talk with you, chat with you all real soon. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.